Good morning. Today's the 19th of Teves. We're on page 62 in the Chayenu. We're in the middle of chapter 13. And the flow is as follows. A Beinoni is a person who never sins, not in thought, speech, or action. But he still has struggles. He still has his nefesh habahamis, soul with selfish tendencies, which grows with time and needs divine help from the nefesh elikis, the divine soul, to overcome all those challenges. Yesterday we mentioned that sometimes we feel helpless, but Hashem is the third judge that pushes us over to the right side when we need the help. In today's lesson, even one who is immersed in Torah study, davening, etc., may still have a vibrant animal soul. You could say, "Oh, that's somebody who's working, who's walking around in public places. He has to keep his eyes and his hands to himself." But even somebody who's learning Torah all the time, or davening all the time, is merely snoozing at this time when one's love and fear of Hashem are being consciously nurtured. However, holy preoccupation does not preclude its potential awakening. What does that mean? That even when you're in the middle of davening, you could have disturbing thoughts, alien thoughts that are not appropriate during davening, during learning, during Torah study. Okay. Until now we're talking about somebody who's at work, working person who does not have the opportunity to spend all the time studying Torah and learning and davening. Now the discussion turns to the individual who does spend all his time learning Torah. Even a person who focuses his time all day learning Torah at night. There's still no proof whatsoever that the evil has been dislodged from his place, meaning even that person who's studying Torah constantly could have the evil trying to get through and disturb his focus on the spiritual pursuits. Rather, the essence and substance of the evil are in their full strength and full might in its abode in the left part of his heart. Except that its garments, namely the thought, speech, and action of the animal soul, are not invested in the brain, mouth, and hands and other parts of the body to think and to do, which is forbidden, because a person has, Hashem grants the person his mind to rule over the heart. So even though right now he's learning, right now he's davening, and it seems that he has full control, that everything is focused and dedicated towards Hashem, but still what he's doing is he's just controlling the emotions of the heart. Baruch Hashem, it's a good thing. Therefore, the nefesh elikis, the godly soul in his mind, rules over the small city, over all the other parts of the body. Making them, which is the bodily organ, serve as a garment and a vehicle to Hashem. But meaning, what does he do? As an expression, a garment is totally subservient to its user, as is a vehicle to its rider. Wherever you go, your shirt's going to go. Whatever you do, your clothing are going to follow. Just like a vehicle to the rider. Thus, because of its God-given supremacy, the divine soul is able to use the bodily organs as a garment and a vehicle. Through which its three garments, namely the thought, speech, and action of the 613 commands, are expressed. Okay, now we're talking about a person who's learning Torah all day. So say, I can't learn Torah all day, but let's at least put it in the framework to say that if we are learning Torah, we have an advantage over the time when we're not learning. Because when we're learning Torah, we're thinking and speaking, and the action is all focused on Torah. So we certainly have the mindset that's controlling the inner desires and pleasures. Yes, sometimes it breaks through. Okay, we'll get to that too. And maybe then that with regard to this individual's thinking, speaking words of Torah, that the divine soul rules over the body. In this area of the divine soul, the divine soul has the upper hand and the animal soul is subservient. So while the person is taka learning Torah and doing mitzvahs, the godly soul has supremacy. But except that in the essence, the divine soul is not in complete control of the animal soul in the case of the Beinoni. Except that those times when his love of Hashem are fully manifest in his heart, meaning during the times of davening and learning. Especially on occasions like during davening and the like. Then, as mentioned in the previous chapter, the Beinoni is aroused to love Hashem, which causes the evil of his animal soul to be nullified before the goodness of the divine soul. Even then, during those times when the divine soul gains the upper hand, it's during this limited time, meaning the divine soul succeeds in dominating the animal soul, but not getting rid of it, not destroying it. The pasuk says that between the battle between Yaakov and Esau, presenting the war between good and evil, that one nation shall prevail over the other. Yaakov exemplified the good really prevailing over Esau. But the evil was not vanquished. The evil was not destroyed. This agrees with our sages' comments on this pasuk. When this one rises, the other one will fall. And when the other one rises, this one will fall. When it comes to the animal soul, although it has fallen during prayer, the minute you stop, you take it full enough, you go to the car, you get distracted with something else. Suddenly you get all angry and you get, oh, I forgot this, I forgot that. You lose your temper, you get upset, you get jealous. During davening, your neshama, your godly soul, has the upper hand. So there's this constant battle in the Beinoni. Even if during times of davening and learning and doing mitzvahs, the nefesh elikis has the upper hand. Nefesh elikis misametzes, miskaberes, and nefesh bahamis b'mikorid hagvura shehi Beinoni, shehi bina. So the divine soul gains strength over the nefesh bahamis in the source of strength, the gvura, which is understanding bina. And by the way, the more you practice, so to speak, the more you focus during the davening and during learning and during performing the mitzvahs, you're going to give, we always talked about this, you give a coin to tzedakah, you could just pop it in, or you could think, I'm doing the mitzvah now. So the more you do that, the more you condition your nefesh elikis to continue its dominance over the nefesh bahamis, and then you take that with you. You go outside, you say, oh, I'm about to get angry. You know what? There's more important things. I have to focus what Hashem wants, this, that. You keep on little failures here and there, but you recognize them and then you grow from there. In the Kabbalah's description of the spheres, Bina is the source of Gvura. In terms of one's divine soul, this means that the source of its strength, Gvura, to combat the animal soul is found in the faculty of understanding, which is Bina, the faculty with which it understands the greatness of Hashem. So Lispoinim Gdolas Hashem and Seif Baruch Hu Lahilid Ava Aza La Hashem Kirish Beish B'Cholol Hayimoni Shebelibay. So thus, when the divine soul gains strength over the animal soul during davening, thinking about the greatness of Hashem, the blessed Ein Seif, and thereby giving birth to intense and flaming love of Hashem in the right side of his heart, Ba'oz Iskafia Sitra Achra B'Chol Smali. Then, when the divine soul dominates the animal soul with this intense, fiery flame of love, revealed love of Hashem, then the sitra achara, the evil of the animal soul on the left side, is subjugated, is pushed to the side, is controlled. But it's not abolished. It's not removed. It's not destroyed in the case of a Beinoni. Only in the level of a tzaddik. Concerning a tzaddik, it says, my heart is void within me. We're talking about the evil which may have previously been in the tzaddik. He, which is the tzaddik, despises and loathes the evil with such a hatred. And if he's a complete tzaddik, or without such a hatred, If he has a complete hatred for his evil and the evil is completely vanquished, then he's a complete tzaddik. But if it's not a complete hatred, so he's an incomplete tzaddik, but he still completely controls that evil within him. So that's talking about a tzaddik. Ava b'Beinoni hu derech mashal ka'adam sheyoshen sheyochel lachzar v'leir mishnasoi. When it comes to a Beinoni, the evil, it's lying. It's like a bear sleeping, hibernating in the winter. You know, what happens when you poke the bear, Steve? It's not good. So it's sleeping, and then it could awaken from its sleep at any time and reactivate its faculties. That's what happens with the evil in a Beinoni. So a Beinoni could go for days and days and weeks and months and years with doing the right thing and saying the right thing and thinking the right thoughts, but that evil is always ready. It's like hibernating, and anything could throw it off. So you can never, what's the word? Never let your guard down. Huh? Imagine somebody who's.
So it could be that this is a horror that exists hard to sleep for many years, for a very, very long time. It's hard to sleep for many months, but it doesn't mean it needs a horror is gone. It could just be asleep for this whole time.
Right, just wait, like a snake, waiting to pounce. So the Beinoni has to be very, very careful and has to realize that even if he's on the right path and on the right track, a lot of times Bachur goes to yeshiva and he's immersed in learning and davening and everything else. You think, oh, this is great. You're all surrounded by Torah mitzvahs. You come to shul, you let Shabbos, everything's wonderful. The minute something, you say Havdalah and then you flick on the TV, you flick on the phone, suddenly you what happened? Shabbos was so blissful, so spiritual. Turn on your phone after Shabbos, you spiral out of control. But it could be for weeks and months. Okay. During when you say, okay, let's say short term even. Here we're talking about weeks, months, and years. But even short term, you're wrapped up in a talis, you're davening, you're shuckling, you're focusing on the Hashem. You're saying Shema and you're saying Shema Esrei. And your heart's glowing with the love of Hashem, causing the evil of the animal soul to be dormant. Therefore, after davening, suddenly it rears its ugly head. What happened? Davening was great. It was 5 minutes ago, 2 minutes ago. I walked out and suddenly, boom, something happened. The Alter Rebbe will now describe an even higher level of Beinoni, one who's permeated throughout the day with the same degree of love of Hashem that he feels during the davening. If we could somehow take that spark, that energy, that love of Hashem that we have during davening with us throughout the day, that's the key. To understand how it's possible for Rabbah, and we asked this question in the first parak, how did Rabbah consider himself a Beinoni? If he did, we have no shot. We have no chance. We're for sure the lower level, which is what? I don't even want to say, Don't go there. Don't go there. So in chapter 1, it was proven that the term Beinoni could not refer, as a literal interpretation would lead us to believe, to a person, half of whose deeds are virtuous and half sinful. Were this the case, then Rabbah, who never neglected entire study, even for a moment, how could he call himself a Beinoni? So the Alter Rebbe's definition of a Beinoni as one who does not sin in practice, does not seem to satisfy this difficulty. Indeed, the Alter Rebbe explained in chapter 12, a Beinoni never sins, yet he has these sinful desires. Rabbah, who was in fact a tzaddik, must have known full well that he was free of such desires. So how could he mistake himself a Beinoni? According to the discussion which now follows concerning the level of a Beinoni, who never even desires evil, this matter is readily understood. Let's explain. For this reason, Rabbah considered himself a Beinoni, although his mouth never ceased from Torah study. His desire to study Torah day and night. He had a craving and a desire and a longing to constantly study Torah and connect to Hashem. Imagine when you say Shema and you feel like connected to Hashem in the deepest possible way, That's the way Rabba felt all the time. During the davening, as mentioned above, I want to just say a quick story. There was a chassid, a famous chassid, Rabbi Nissen Nemanov, and his nephew, Rabbi Denberg. You may have heard this story. I've said it a few times. Rabbi Yossi Denberg in Florida told the story that when he was a little kid, he asked his uncle, "Did I ever call you a Beinoni? How do you become a Beinoni? I want to be a Beinoni just like you." So he says, "Close your eyes and say Shema and think of the Eibishter and nothing but Hashem, and do it from the depths of your heart and with every fiber of your being." And he closed his eyes and he says, "Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad." And he took a few long seconds to say it. And he opens his eyes and he says, "Okay, now what?" He goes, "Do that for the rest of your life, exactly like that, all day and all night. If you could walk around, even if you don't have your hands, you're saying Shema, but you feel the burning desire to connect to Kadosh Baruch Hu." That's what Rabbi was doing all the time when he was learning and davening and doing a mitzvah and being. You had to wake up, you had to get dressed just like everybody else. But he was constantly thinking, "I'm doing this in order to connect to Hashem." And therefore, it's possible for him to get. Oh, I'm sorry. So this is what he did all the time. So during davening, as mentioned, the Beinoni's heart's aroused to loving Hashem. Abba, however, experienced this arousal of love not only during davening, but also throughout the day. Therefore, his animal soul was not always dormant, and he never desired mundane matters. I'm sorry, his animal soul was always dormant. Okay, so since we're told that the Beinoni goes about where his nefesh habahamis is quiet, and once in a while, when he has a weak moment, is that animal jumps up and attacks him. But Rabbah was always focused on Hashem, so he just figured that his nefesh habahamis is held in check. So as long as he constantly thinks it's in check, so I'm not a tzaddik. I'm just constantly working on myself. Don't be discouraged if you're constantly working on yourself and nothing bad happens. Don't think you're a tzaddik. Just this is what Rabbah was thinking. You get it? Rabbah was thinking, I'm not a tzaddik. I'm just working on myself constantly, and therefore the nefesh habahamis doesn't have a chance. He therefore thought that he thought he was a Beinoni, for he appeared in his own eyes as a Beinoni who davens all day, meaning a Beinoni who throughout the day retains the level attained during davening, even though he's not davening all day, but he's holding that focus all day. Indeed, the sages have said, would that a man pray the whole day long? It'll be such a high, beautiful level. In fact, if you ever go to Yerushalayim, you see people walking around in tefillin. It's an Indian trying to daven all day long. That's it, by the way. We're just finishing up some explanation, but thanks for sticking it out. So such a Beinoni is constantly ablaze with the love of Hashem. His desire for evil is always being held in check. Therefore, the absence of any evil desire does not prove to Rabbah that he's a tzaddik. The absence of evil doesn't prove to Rabbah that he was a tzaddik. That's why he thought he might be a Beinoni. What emerges from all that's been said is that even during davening, when the Beinoni succeeds in arousing his love for Hashem and rendering the evil dormant, his divine soul has merely prevailed over his animal soul, but has not vanquished it. For which reason it's possible for this state to cease after prayer. So therefore, a Beinoni doesn't want to stop praying, doesn't want to stop focusing and keeping to this level. Let's look at the takeaway. What's the takeaway? It's not healthy to think that you are a tzaddik and that you rid yourself of all evil, because then you're going to let your guard down. Because then you think that you are perfect and you have no need to battle. Therefore, we have to remember, we have to know where our place is. The Alter Rebbe was saying, we're constantly going to have that battle. Never let your guard down. Always be fully focused and aware. And in that way, we don't have to talk about the negative if something happens, but in that way, you'll keep strong and you'll keep the evil in check. A lot to think about, a lot to focus on. Bring that fiery flame of davening with you throughout the day. That's the key. That's the message for today. Shkoyach, everyone. Have a wonderful day, a good tevach, and enjoy the beautiful snow today.